Hello everyone, it's Shanna Makes It, and I'm part of the creative crew for Kat Scrappiness. Today I'm going to be working with the Magical Memories 6x6 premium cardstock, and I've got the Magical Mickey Border Craft Die, and I've got the Mickey's Confetti Sprinkles, the Mickey's Star Syncwood Mix, and the Magical Mickey Mouse Dots. And I'm going to bring in this black and white paper cardstock here and cut it down to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2, and I'm paying attention to the direction of my paper. And I'm going to have both of those the same size, the yellow and the black and white with the little Mickey heads. I'm going to take my Mickey outline border die here, and I'm just going to lay it down on my black and white panel, and I'm going to cut a series of 3 of these out of this panel, and because we're going to create a shaker card. So I'm using this tape here to tape it down, and I wish I had used my pink tape because I did get a little tear on it, but I have a solution for that. So I'm going to bring in my Spellbinders Platinum 6 die cutting machine and just kind of move stuff out of the way, and we'll get this laid down on here, and I'll run it through my die cutting machine. You can see that one of those yellow pieces of tape stayed on my craft mat, which I'm glad because the other one ripped it, so I would have had 2 ripped sides, but it just took a little bit of the pattern off. Not too bad. And so I'm just pulling it off, and I'm going to lay the die down again and cut a second layer, but this time I am going to use my pink tape, and it is a little bit more forgiving, so it won't rip my paper. And I'm just going to run it through the die cutting machine again, and I still only need, apparently I only need 1 piece of tape because I keep leaving a tape on my desk, my glass mat there, and it did keep it in place just fine. And so I'll gently pull that off again, and I will lay the die down one more time, and I'm going to have 3 cuts to where I've got like 3 windows of Mickey heads for my shaker. And there we go, we've got our shaker panel. So I'm going to use the backs of these to lay down on my yellow so that I'll have some polka dot Mickey heads that'll show between there. And I'm going to grab one of Kat Scrappiness's full A2 size shaker card fronts. And now because I ripped it, I decided I'm going to bring in one of Kat Scrappiness rectangle scalloped rectangle edge dies. Actually 2 of them. I'm gonna layer them so that I'll just create a frame that I can use, and it will cover up that little spot on my paper that I created by using the wrong tape. And so I'll just run it through my Spellbinder 6 and pull it apart, and we've got our frame, and we've also got a nice panel that we can use for something else. So I'll lay it aside because I don't want to waste it. And then we're going to start creating our shaker card. And so I've got all of my elements there, but I do have to grab that shaker pocket. So I've got it, and I'm just going to lay it over my black and white Mickey paper here and just position it right where I want it. And I did leave the protective film on there. I'll pull it off last. I just do that so if I've got any glue or anything on my desk mat that it won't get on my shaker panel until I'm ready. Now I have laid that down, and then I'm about to lay the other one down, and I realize that I need to put my yellow piece of paper in there. So I'm eyeballing it, and I'm like, I've got to get that in there. So I'm going to lift it up, and it comes up okay, and I'm able to insert that piece of background paper in there that'll cover the background. And so I'm going to get it laid back down, and now I know I need to insert my little polka dots, and I'm just going to lay them right through the cutout portion so that they'll be perfectly lined up with the cutout portion of the Mickey's heads. And so I'm just going to tuck them in and then press down, and then I'll do the same thing with the other 2 just to create some polka dot Mickey Mouse heads, and they'll be perfectly lined up so that when I attach my panel all together, everything will be in place. So I'm just going to get all those laid down in there and push them down. And now I'm going to check to make sure that my panel lifts up so that I'll have the space in between there. And then I'm going to pull the release paper on 3 sides of this panel. I already did the one at the bottom, and I'm going to do the 2 sides, and then I'll fill it, and then I'll close in the top. So now we've got our little area, and I'm going to pull off that protective film that is on your shaker so that you've got a good clean shaker front. And I just pulled that off and it's ready to go. And now I'm going to just put all of my sprinkles, dots, and sequin mix inside there. And I didn't even use my triangle tray. I just opened it up and just dumped it right in there. And I'm going to have a good mix of all three in my card. And so now I've got that, and I'm looking at it, and I've realized that I've cut it a little bit, or I've made my panel a little bit too long. So I'm just taking my scissors and just trimming that up. And then we'll just fold it over nicely and get it sealed up. And we've created a shaker. And I really like it. It's got lots of colors. It's very colorful, and it's got lots of good sounds when you shake it. So this is the frame that I've created for the panel, just to cover up that little tiny tear that was in my paper. And I flipped it over and saw the red, and I thought, that red's really going to pop off there. So I decided to use the red side, and so I'm just using my tape runner because I don't want to make a gluey mess on my acetate. And I'm just going to use the tape runner and get all four sides covered, and then we'll get it laid down on our shaker. And I do have a little trouble getting it lined up, and I will put it down on there and try to get it lined up, and then a little bit later I'll realize I don't like how it's lined up, and I will completely pull it off and redo it. But it does wind up turning out nice. So the tape gave me a little forgiveness. So I've got a little bit more at the top and the right side showing than what I do on the others, and so I will fix that later. But right now we are moving on to our cinnamon. And I've laid that full sheet of paper, or cardstock there, but I'm not going to use it because I'm trying to use up my scraps, and I realize I have a smaller scrap piece that I can use. So I'll just locate it. I've got my dies. I've got my Happy Birthday die from Kat Scrappiness, and I'm going to find some scraps and actually use the scraps. I've kind of made a commitment to myself that I'm going to do that, and so I'm trying to at every opportunity. So I've got a little piece of yellow there that the Happy Birthday will work with. And then for the shadow to the Happy Birthday, I'm going to use that panel that we took out of the middle of the frame, and I'll die cut this out of the middle, and then I'll still have that panel that I could use for another card if I lay something on top of it. So we'll just get this lined up on here, and we'll die cut our shadow out, and then we'll pull our Happy Birthday word in there and lay it down on the scrap yellow. And I did bring in my smaller die cutting machine for this because it is a smaller cut, so I could fit that on there. And we'll just pull it out, and it cut through it beautifully. And I'm making sure my tittle to my eye is in there, and it is. And I'm going to leave it in the die until I'm ready to put it on my shadow because I don't want to lose it. And so I'm just popping out any extra bits that are left in there. And I'm going to get my glue press cleaned up so I can lay some thin layers of glue down on there so I don't make a mess on my shadow. And we'll get this Happy Birthday sentiment laid down here on this card. So I'm just getting it glued up, trying to do it as finely as I can. And I'm going to lay it right down here on this shadow. And it lines up really nice. It is all connected with the exception of the tittle. And I'm going to just pop that tittle out on my desk, get it flipped over. We'll put a little dab of glue on there, and then we'll use our pick and stick tool from Kat Scrappiness, and we'll put it down on there, and I think it looks really nice. I like how the yellow pops off the black, and we're going to get it laid down on the lower right-hand corner of our card. And I am going to use some glue for this. Try to keep it toward the center, and that way it won't squish out. And then I'll get it straightened up on there. And I really like the way it sounds. Just shaking it. You can't stop playing with a shaker card. And then this is where I realized I could do better with that frame. And so I just pulled it off, and I'm just laying it back down on there, and I got it lined up much better, and I'm a lot happier with it. And it wasn't a problem that I already had the sentiment down on there. So there we have it. Much better. So we have a little bit of black poking through all the way around it. And I'm going to bring in that Magical Mickey border die again, and I'm going to die cut out some Mickey heads in red. And I decided that would be my embellishments for the outside of the card. I've got all the embellishments on the inside as part of the shaker, but I thought it'd be fun to just take this scrap piece of red that I have and die cut out these little Mickey heads and just add them onto my card base. So I'm just going to use my tape runner And I'm going to put 2 in the upper left-hand corner. I'll put 2 in the upper right-hand corner. And then I'll put 1 in the lower left-hand corner. And get it laid down there. And I think it looks really cute. And then I'm going to look at it again, shake it again. And then I decided I need to bring in a card base because I'd forgotten to do that. And so I'll get it laid down on here. And I'm just using my tape runner for that. And I'm just going to stand up my card and press it into that. And I think my card base was a little off, so I cut it. And then that last Mickey that I die cut out, the red Mickey, was laying there and it caught my eye, and I thought, it's going on the inside of the card. And that'll finish it up. I hope you like it. Thanks for watching. Have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.